Oh yeah, we got our main topic here, which is, of course, the aptly titled Super Mario Brothers 1993 review. And that's, of course, we're doing this in honor of, or maybe in spite of, I don't know, depending on how you look at it, the upcoming animated Super Mario Brothers movie. I think that's just what it's called, right? I think it's the same thing.
I think it's Super Mario.
You all know what I'm talking about. Chris
Of course.
Pratt,
Oh,
or
you're
Chris
right.
Pine, excuse me, Charlie Day, Anya Taylor-Joy.
Wait a second. So just like with Suicide Squad, the other one was The Suicide Squad. This is the Super Mario Brothers movie.
The is the defining feature there. So it still is bros.
Yep.
What I can't think of the word there. Shortened.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes, appropriately.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
All
I
right.
like that there. Since I yet again did not put out a exit survey or poll on last week's debate, although some might say I won, I don't know. Some people told me that on the street, so I can't in good faith change the rules here. So Nick, you hit us with the synopsis. I'm stuck with the cast and crew once again.
You may have won it, but again, it's based on the poll. Regardless,
Yes.
I should just to echo what you're saying. But two Brooklyn plumbers, Mario and Luigi, must travel to another dimension to rescue a princess from the evil dictator King Koopa and stop him from taking over the world.
Yes, this is directed by Annabelle Jankel and Rocky Morton. You need two people to direct this piece of shit. Starring Bob Hoskins as Mario, John Leguizamo as Luigi, Dennis Hopper as King Koopa, Samantha Mathis as Daisy, Fisher Stevens as Iggy, Richard Edson as Spike, Fiona Shaw as Lena, and Mojo Nixon as Toad.
Mojo Nixon.
If you want to call him Toad.
Oh, we'll get to that. As for the box office and critics' reception, this pulled in 20.9 million domestic. Of course, this was 1993, including 8.5 million on its opening weekend, received a 4.1 out of 10 on IMDb, 29-29 split on Roddy Tees, and 3.6 out of 5 on Google reviews, which is actually kind of high for this, with 59% of Google users liking this movie. That's a high ass number, Wes. Where did you fall on this?
I'm. This was a $48 million budget. So if you think that's still good for 1993, this is, again, we get all the box office stuff from boxofficemojo.com. So hat tip to them on that. But yes, and this movie wasn't released internationally. So the worldwide and domestic, it's all the same thing.
Okay.
So at 48 million, that's tough. You know, you
That's
think 29 million and 93 is pretty good. Not in the movie making business.
No matter what, if you're not bringing back the money that you at least spent on this shit, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. But I mean, if they spent if it was an $8 million movie, then it was 20 million. They're like, yeah, okay, then you did a pretty decent job. But no, that's
and I believe the industry rule of thumb. Not that I'm a man of the industry by any chance, but I've heard some people say this before, that it's like 2.5 or twice the budget, because when you're considering marketing and advertising, and then also the tickets like get cut through obviously through the theaters and everything like that. They get a stake. So it's interesting how it all gets divvied up there.
Is it to turn a profit, you're saying that, or is that to break even, you mean?
To break even, because they put in all the money for the all the posters, the billboards, everything like that, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Commercials.
So this is a nightmare scenario. That's you made like 50%.
That's nowadays. I don't know if that was the case in 93.
Fair, but still brutal. Not even half of your.
Yeah, I think it was Avatar that needed to make like $2 billion to like be profitable. It did. I mean, but that's crazy.
No, you're right. But it's just like, what are you doing at that point? But okay.
But yeah, let's get to the score on the tweet length review. So I gave this a 53 out of 100. I saw this as a youth here, and I hate to break it to young Wesley's heart, but because this was a childhood favorite of mine, but this movie is just hot garbage right now. There's not much redeemable nor rewatchable about this movie. So although we'll give the boot boosters some credit there. Did love those.
Okay. Well,
Boost boots.
we're not in the same neighborhood. I don't know if we can say we're in the same town, but we're probably in the same county. We're of a similar mind at least. I flip flop your score and gave this a 35 out of 100. I did not see this as a kid. I was 2 years old when this came out, so I'm sure it was very hard for me to find when I was older. My dad probably wanted no piece of this. It's just, I mean, it's so fucking bad. I mean, seriously, for me, the best part of this movie was being like, wow, John Leguizamo looks really young. And holy shit, is that Eddie Valiant from Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Because I've never seen him in anything else knowingly.
See, that I didn't realize. That didn't tip it off. Like, Who Framed Roger Rabbit is a movie that I haven't watched probably since I was in single digits in age, but I love it. And it had a huge imprint on me. So I didn't make that connection at all, but that's such a great call. Cause like, I'm watching this. I'm like, why is this movie tailored around John Leguizamo if they have like a relative stiff as Mario?
Yeah. I mean, I guess he was an up and comer, but it is an interesting choice to have him be the guy, but also you can't flip flop them because of physical appearance. Because obviously Luigi's supposed to be the skinny one and Mario's supposed to be the heavier one. But yeah, I couldn't. But when I saw this, I'm like, I've never seen this guy in another friggin' thing. This is absolutely. And I had watched Roger Rabbit within the last few months, I would say, because I got sick at some point, and I watched it when I was sick. Yeah, I mean that movie. I still like that movie. So we
can talk about that movie if you want. That's fun. We should have just watched that, to be honest with you. But I will say, Bob Hoskins' credit does look the part.
He does. Yes, they
does look the part.
He absolutely does. And like when it comes to Leguizamo, like he looks good. Like I've never seen him in something where he was like this young. I feel like the John Leguizamo I know is all like early aughts, and he's like starting to come back into stuff now because he's in that like crazy Santa movie that came out recently. He's in this new show like where he's like he's old now.
Yeah,
but he's like really. This is 1993. Like I was like, dude looks good.
It's kind of launched him, to be honest. He kind of went on a run at this 1993. He gets like The Spawn and The Pest in the mid to late 90s. He's in a couple other movies, Romeo and Juliet. That one with Leonardo DiCaprio, like the street live action LA version.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm the biggest Leguizamo fan, but he looks good here.
No, he has a little come up there, though. He has a little shine. But now let's get to the difficult stuff, Nick. The exit survey itself. What was the most rewatchable scene from this movie?
Okay, like from a positive standpoint, like the Bob-omb stuff was kind of like funny because it's just like this little wind-up toy that everybody's losing their shit over. So it's like kind of funny, but like other than that, from like a sheer stupidity standpoint, that elevator dance scene was like when people talk about train wrecks that you can't just pull, like you can't look away from. It's
comparable to the Captain America elevator scene, right? As far as like, it's just top-notch cinema.
Right on, brand. Great call. I don't know how I didn't think of that. It is so dumb where he gets, for those who haven't seen it or haven't seen it in a long time, John Leguizamo decides like, oh, I'm going to get these big Goombas, which, by the way, mushrooms in the video games, but like lizard-headed dudes here.
Yeah.
I'm going to grab one of them from like their lower back and like start having them dance. We don't want them to see me, but I'm going to like grab them by their jacket or something and get them swinging side to side. And then he does it with a few of them and turns them so that way that him and Mario can make their escape. Somehow that like, okay, how the fuck did you do that? Mario asked him, like, how did you know that would work? John Leguizamo, Luigi's answer, because everyone likes to dance.
Yeah, who doesn't? Unless they were in the town of Footloose, and then he would have been shit out of luck there. He would have been like, this is the end of the movie.
You know what? If Kevin Bacon was in this movie, you couldn't even had a movie. It would have just ended that quickly.
Yeah, he would have solved the whole. Yeah, he killed communism, right? Yeah, right there.
So dumb. My God.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a memorable scene. I do like the Bob-omb reference there because there are like very few Easter eggs that they chose to actually like lift from the video game. That was one of them. You get a Bullet Bill reference in there as well. One of the bullets at the end that they used to kind of like on the boots to kick one of the Koopas or something like that. So like that was loaded in there. So that was kind of cool. But again, not a whole lot lifted. The club scene was kind of fun. Anytime, I thought I really loved Big Bertha. I got to find her name. She was a late addition to the movie. I should have grabbed that there. But she was nice in the club scene. You see Mario, this is going to come up later. motorboating her. I mean, because he's like right at her bosom level.
Is this 1990? I'm trying to find her name for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I apologize, but yeah, that is certainly a memorable scene.
And when you talk about like one of the dumber things, when you have Mario and Luigi breaking out of the prison and the cop car, and like the cop car is
Yeah.
kind of like a bumper car, it's all running on like an electric grid sort of thing. They drive off a cliff, and it's just so bad. It's like a Mac and Me moment. If you've ever seen Conan O'Brien with Paul Rudd, it's like that type of moment there. And I thought I really enjoyed that. So that was an enjoyable moment for me. I'd watch that a couple times over.
Francesca P. Roberts.
Francesca P. Roberts, you were phenomenal. You stole the show. You might come up later.
Okay. Well, what? I guess we're gonna try and be positive here. What aged the best from this movie?
The mozzarella fungi. This is something I remember as a kid, and it stuck with me here, and it's just it's present throughout the whole movie. Not the aspect of it being Daisy's father. That's really weird. Not here for that, and that like that weird blob, like it's like the bizarro version of the apple at Shea Stadium. It just kind of like comes down from the bottom.
Yeah.
That's really weird, but the fungi all over the city, I'm here for. They're two Italian guys. Of course, the mozzarella fungi is here to help them.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's how it works in every
the mutts. Trust the mutts. Have some faith in the mutts.
I only have one for you, Wes. It's Bob-omb. I think that's the only thing I walked away. I was like, oh, this is good. Like it was like fun, like a little bit. Other than that, I was like, again, you saw this as a kid. I'm seeing this as a 31-year-old adult. So
again, this might be aging the best or the worst depending on where you stand. But Mario motorboarding Big Bertha, that got a LOL out of me. I guffawed.
When you're talking about like things like that age best worst, there's definitely something that like aged worse in that vein.
Is that going to come up? Or are you going to tell me? Or is it?
Sorry,
okay.
Sorry. Yes, that will come up later.
Awesome, great. I love the tease there, and this is a part of the reason why I kind of like the club scene. Was the song "Walk the Dinosaur" by George Clinton and the Goombas on the soundtrack. Very good song. I would listen to that to this day right now. So that might get worked into my playlist here.
Oh my.
The Boost Boots I mentioned, that was also, as well as the fungi, one of the key things that was imprinted on me from this movie that I remembered. And also there's I know it's like an alternate universe, but they're kind of playing with like a hollow earth theory controlled by reptilians, which I'm kind of here for. I'm kind of here for that.
Oh, you are? Oh, I mean, look, okay, this is actually a perfect segue into what age the worst, because so while I can entertain that the way you're going about it, the way that they presented it, correct me if I misunderstood this, Wes, because this is under what age is the worst for me. The meteor that took out the dinosaurs separated Earth into effectively two planets, and now they're in separate dimensions. That's how I understood it.
Yes, yeah, on two separate planes, but there's a portal, a Stargate maybe.
Right. But okay, so while I have the lizard people doing something with that, okay, I could get into that. This is extremely stupid.
With the multiverse, they were ahead of the time.
Oh no, yeah, because in the Earth's the meteor that took out the dinosaurs is what fucking did it. The writing in this is actually, I didn't put that in here. I do have that later on, but the writing for this movie is absolutely terrible. And how about when Luigi is chasing down Daisy to try and get her, when they've gone down the portal, he's like, Daisy, she's like, Luigi, Daisy, Luigi, what is this gonna do right now? I know this is the 90s and there's some writing that's behind the times, but holy crap, it was so bad.
Yeah, really, really bad. I would have been like to have been a fly on the wall in that writer's room and figure out why they chose the things that they did in the adventure or the avenues in which they chose to go down there.
I agree with you 100%.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pulling up the Wikipedia page here. The screenwriters envisioned Super Mario Brothers as a subversive comedy influenced by Ghostbusters, The Wizard of Oz, and the setting was inspired by the game Super Mario World, with elements drawn from fairy tales and contemporary American culture.
Okay. It didn't work.
Did not work.
Yeah.
It appeared on several lists of the worst films ever made, but it did develop a bit of a cult following. Cult classic. Wikipedia said it by
Wow.
definition. We're there.
Guys, remember that episode? You were so mad. So mad.
This remained the only live action film based on a Nintendo game property until Pokemon Detective Pikachu in 2019. So this was either so great or so bad that they just wanted it to live on its own for 93. What's that math there, Nick? 25 years.
What was the year you said? Oh, Detective
93 to
Pikachu?
2019.
Yeah.
27 years.
Something like that.
26 years. 26 years. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's bad. I mean, it totally makes sense. It's pretty brutal. But I still like. I will say I'm glad that I at least gave it a look in some capacity before this one. Like, and this is the only time I would ever think to watch this. But
oh yeah, absolutely. Here now, okay. So you have what age the worst? Okay, we got your Meteor, the whole Hollow Earth thing. That's good. I'm with you on that one, because if they had just gone full like reptilian Hollow Earth, they were just sent back inside. Like I can live with that. That's cool.
Right now, before you go into yours, the one I wanted to make, I just want to make good on the tease real quick, because we do have another one that we share later on. But King Koopa, in general, awful. So that's Bowser. Like I remember hearing King Koopa as a kid, but I guess I forgot that they were supposed to be the same one. But this is Bowser, so that's just terrible. Like alone, and I understand they don't have the benefit of CGI at this time. I get that, but this is just odd. Now, when the thing I was mentioning earlier, where you talked about Big Bertha, with King Koopa, he gets like, I know we see some scenes like, from a different time, and things can be like, that's not great, or it's kind of weird. Now, King Koopa gets like real fucking weird. Like, this is like very uncomfortable for me when I was watching that.
Oh yeah, very very weird. And also the trapping of the women is weird. He says like, I will have Daisy, or I will use her later, to his henchmen. He's like, take her away, and I will call for you when I need you. Use her later. And he like pauses on it, and it's like, I don't know.
That's a good point too. I was thinking specifically of the moment where he was like, he had her in his like office or whatever, and was like talking about like, you were a part dinosaur and all this. I mean, that's a whole other fucking thing. She's dinosaur. Who signed off on this shit?
It's very weird. Yeah, the whole reptilian thing. Again, I get Bowser is what is he, a snapping turtle?
I guess kind of.
He's got a shell, right? He's got
a shell.
He's some sort of a turtle.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not too far fetched in a way, but it's also like very poorly done and awful. And no, it's extremely far fetched. It was fucking terrible. What am I talking about? I have one other thing that is aged terribly from this, but I want to let you get into yours first.
Yeah, so live action in general, and maybe this is a question that we can get into in depth, and how this could have been done, and maybe an unanswerable questions in the next one. But live action just did not work, and I'm not sure if Super Mario Brothers can work in a live action format. But because it's so fantastical, I don't, and like ridiculous, so if you try to make it like serious, I don't know. But Luigi going to extreme lengths for a chick he just met on the streets. I mean, he's kind of a pussy hound. He's after it.
I guess so.
He's horned up.
Yeah, or he's into half women, half dinosaurs too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Cooper, New York City. Didn't age the best. I'm not sure if I would want to be in that. That's like 1980s New York. Also, what's weird, I noticed this when I was watching it, was when the worlds are transforming or like merging into one at the end of it, when they all show up on the Spagnelli's construction site, they show the World Trade Centers, and it shows it kind of phasing in and out, and the Trade Center towers are dropping. I swear to God, wow. I had to go. I turned it back and like rewind it and like watched it again, and you can see a cop and a lady right before that are pointing up to it, and then you see the World Trade Centers, and then they're standing upright. It's 1993, and then it phases in and out, and it looks like they're falling down. And I'm telling you, it's creepy. You got to look it up. It's like very late in the movie, but that obviously doesn't age very well at all. Toad, on a lighter note.
That's the other one I had.
What's going on with Toad?
Dude, seriously. Like, I understand that there's live action, you don't have CGI and all this different stuff that's going on, but who the fuck thought that that was a good idea? Especially with the hair, man.
Well, even all right, so like what? So he's a mushroom. So like, why make him into the reptilian after? And then you got the harmonica on him, which is the only way to identify him among the other Goombas. You know, like, but even before, like again, yeah, the haircut is outrageous. He's a literally target. He's a pinhead.
Yeah, I didn't. It's such a. I don't, I don't get it. Like, it's
It's
just
like a target for birds to shit on your head.
it's one of those things that it's just like, again, that's what's kind of fascinating about this movie that I will grant it is there are so many things that when I look at this, it's like I just need to know how you got here. What made you decide on this? Why was X a good idea? How about Y? Because there's got to be like at least 15 things as we're watching this. Never mind like any of the lines, just different things that they did throughout the movie. And it's just, how did you get here? I just need to know how the writers' minds work for this, or the directors, whoever made these decisions.
Now, as bad as everything looks, maybe this is something that would have aged the best here. But yeah, I would give credit to the prop and set designer crew because there's a lot of practical effects here, and like the whole set design of New York City is like pretty elaborate, even though it's like hot garbage. It's pretty detailed.
I think for the times that we're dealing with here, I definitely had a moment where it's like, oh, this does kind of have that feel of like, stuff that we liked as a kid, and this the poor, like the for now, the poor setting and everything like that, and the scenery and everything. But back then it's like this is exactly what we want. It just, I don't think it fits for all this shit.
Yeah, it doesn't work all that well. What was up with President Koopa being obsessed with mud?
Dude, that was so the
Also,
line.
a weird choice.
You know what I love about mud, Wes?
Yeah.
It's clean and dirty at the same time.
It is. That's a good point. It's a good point. That's why pigs are clean, but they hang out in mud, right? Isn't that what they say?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
my cat's meowing over and I'm trying to get her out of the room. I apologize.
this leads to a good unanswerable question segment here. You have why just why?
Yeah, like seriously, that's kind of what I was getting at before with all this. Just everything that we're watching it throughout all of it. It's just, why is Daisy half dinosaur? Why did we go with Daisy instead of Peach? I got no problem with Daisy, but like, you're gonna go and do a Mario movie out of nowhere and you're not gonna use Princess Peach. That seems like an odd move. Like you said, why is Luigi going to be the driving force in this movie? And then I mean, like, why is Bowser just a dude? Why do the Goombas? Why are they not like the mushrooms like they normally are? One, why are they like the fucking why are they like reptiles with tiny heads and huge ass bodies?
Makes no sense, and they're like 10 feet tall too. Because or maybe Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo are just a couple of shorties too. But when they're in the elevator with them, I mean, they come up to like maybe they're mid back.
Yeah, it's that was that may have been the weirdest thing in all this. Now, I want to make sure I'm not misremembering this too, because obviously, if they were calling them Koopas, then it makes sense. But they were calling them Goombas, right?
Goombas, yeah.
So that's just that's a careless mistake because
and all this stuff too, like you said, calling it President Koopa or King Koopa instead of Bowser and Daisy instead of Peach and all this. It makes me wonder, like, how much involvement Nintendo actually had on this, or did they just like sign away the licensing, like, hey, do something with this, and like these people had no idea what they were doing.
Yeah, and it's just like a total, like, whoever made these decisions. I'm blaming the writers a lot and the director too, but like directors actually, as we've found out, but it could have been higher ups. It's just so many poor decisions, but like that, and lazy ones, like this Goomba Koopa one. It didn't actually hit me until right now. I'm like, wait a second, if it was Koopas, then at least it makes sense why they're reptiles, but it's still poorly done. But no, you called them Goombas when they're clearly supposed to be the Koopas.
That's why it confused me with the Goombas supposed to be called the Koopas and Bowser being called King Koopa. And that's why I was like, what's happening here? And then you have a blonde who's like kind of wearing pink, right? Throughout this movie, right? Or some form of like pink, and she's Daisy, who's a
100%
like a brunette or a redhead.
She is a brunette. I don't get it.
Very weird. Yeah.
I don't. It's so again, like that's why I say why, because you can say that about so many things in this movie.
Well, so we brought this up. Can this be done in a live action movie? And you also have the question here: could CGI have helped make this a decent movie? I think if they were going for like the futuristic steampunk kind of postmodern type of take on this, and again, if like Wizard of Oz and Ghostbusters are kind of like your inspiration here, I think you go like Scanner Darkly type, like with the animation, go very weird, very trippy, like maybe like Johnny Depp, or Johnny Depp, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, like that type of like weird take on it, where it's very trippy, where these guys are like on acid, like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Wow, can't talk right now, but something along those lines that get incorporated into this like dream state type of world.
Yeah, that's
kind of what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like what people talk about the theme of what Mario is.
Yeah, I think with Mario
taking mushrooms and he's saving princesses and
right. Yeah, I think that would be a fun way to go about it, and for live action that could work. You don't need to do it for animation, obviously, but for live action that could work. Honestly, so with this movie specifically, I don't think it would have made a difference in the end. I don't think CGI
no.
would have helped it. I think we all are pretty good about understanding, like, it was 1993. You don't have access to stuff that you had even in 2000. Never mind what we have now. But the writing on this is just so bad, and there's so many, and there's like stuff that I'm like, watch it, it's like, this is dumb, but as we're going through, it's like, no, there's also, that's just dumb. There's like a lot of careless shit that's done in this movie. But I do think, yeah, you could make live action, but you just have to get weird with it. It's just a matter of how many people are going to actually be interested in that kind of a Mario movie. So maybe it could be done interestingly, but I think animation is, you said it before, animation is where it is best.
If you were to be a tradesman, what trade would you choose?
Oh, I saw that this is like the first thing I saw in your notes, and I didn't think about it afterwards. I have thought about, I don't know why I've thought about like carpentry in the past, because I've thought about like actually when I was in middle school, I thought about going to Diamond in Fall River, because that would have been the one I would go to, and I never did, obviously, but I just I did think about like learning that kind of stuff, because it could be valuable, even if you don't go into like a trade and stuff. But yeah, I guess carpentry.
So I think like finished carpentry is the belle of the ball. You're like the jock of the campus. Finished carpentry is the cock of the walk, from what I understand. They're putting in the wainscoting on the walls. They're putting in the crown molding. Maybe they're putting in the cabinets, all that type of stuff, all the nice stuff. Putting the finishing touches on the staircase or your railings and that sort of thing. Like all the detail work in the house. Like finished carpentry would be. They come in swinging a big dick, from what I understand.
It'd be just nice to have that, I mean, like just now in daily, like now I'm in an apartment, but when I purchase a house, I would like, that way I don't need to ask somebody for that kind of stuff. You save money that way and just spend money on the supplies.
Yeah, it would be electrician. I would probably want to be an electrician for that, because that's something I know nothing about. And I think that right there would save me a lot of money, being able to like wire shit. And then like, again, I always think like, if the world were to end, how would I be able to like, I got solar panels on my roof here. Would I be able to use those somehow? And like, I wouldn't even be able to know what to make left of right of up there, no idea. But like stuff around the house, like fixing some things up, I can YouTube that. I can search some of those things that are a little bit more easier for me to conceptualize, like in my head.
Sure. Yeah, there's YouTube is an amazing place. It really is.
I love it.
There's like for fixing stuff. There's no place better. I will say, like, honestly, if YouTube was like, oh, you need to have a subscription in order to watch anything, like, period, I would do it probably just to have those like in my back pocket whenever I need them.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. That's that's my whole summer plan here. And also landscaping. I think if I was a landscaper, like that would be good work. That'd be good, honest work there. I would like that.
I just think that okay. Yeah. Okay. I guess I just look at it as like, well, like the tougher things, like because you can't you cut your grass and you could like
Oh yeah,
plant baby grass if you needed to and stuff
but
like that.
if I had a business, like you said, if you went to like a tech school or something
Yeah.
like that, like landscaping, like I could see myself getting into that sort of business. Or you have your
Mm,
own landscaping business. You
mhm.
go into high end. Even go to school, go to golf course management or something along
Mm.
those lines.
Hey, you and I have seen some people manage golf courses very well.
We're
That
talking about the whale,
yeah, that was like one
the
of the
city of
most
New Bedford.
yeah,
Beautiful.
that still might be the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen on a golf course.
Yeah, that was great times. That's good stuff there. Yeah, the timing
Right.
and the management of that, right? And what was he in, like a Daniel Gibson Cleveland Cavaliers jersey?
I think it was Rasheed Wallace, Portland Trailblazers.
Oh, geez. Okay, yeah, that's good. That's good either way. Yeah,
That's a big pull though, Gibson.
yeah.
My God. May as
Who
well.
had? Oh, last question here before we move on. Do you think they incorporate any Easter eggs from this movie into
Oh,
the upcoming animated movie out next week?
that would be amazing. I think, and that's like the biggest thing for me. Like, if having watched this, if they can put like one tiny, tiny thing in here, even if it's like a throwaway line, that would be great. But I think it'll be
Because that's
tough.
what this movie's kind of build on it, right? Because it's like we're going to get stuff from Super Smash Brothers and stuff from Donkey Kong and stuff from
True.
Mario Kart and Mario Party, from all these different iterations of the Mario worlds. This would
Hmm.
be kind of a nice homage, and again, kind of like self-aware, kind of like a
Hmm.
wink to an audience sort of thing. So that'd be funny.
That would be funny. So if I was to put odds on it, just even odds, like yes, no, like which way are you going?
I would go with, unfortunately, if I had to put my money on it, I would say
Yeah,
no.
I would too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I want it, but
yeah, I would will it to happen. Yeah.
mhm.
Who had the best performance by a side character, and why was it Big Bertha?
You like Big Bertha
Oh,
apparently.
she was a tour de force. She came in and just owned the whole scene, owned the club. People moved out of her way, or she made
Uh,
them move.
there you go. I mean, I guess you've made the case. I mean, Bob Baum is my guy clearly in this movie. I've talked about him numerous amount of times already. So
Well, we got to mention Iggy and Spike, who are the bumbling duo, right? Which is necessary in any movie. There, you need to have a bumbling kind of duo who is like, kind of bad, but kind of just dumb and like looking for someone to follow, looking for strong leadership. Maybe they switch sides at the end, like they do here. I believe they were spies, right? And they go from being dumb to really smart and educated because of that cool machine that King
mm,
Koopa has. But they were kind of fun. I didn't mind them. I didn't hate them. They were a nice comedic performance, very necessary in a bad 90s movie like this. They
yes,
do a good job of it.
that's when you said like that. You always need bumbling in. It's just like yes, you need it in every '90s movie, of course.
Yeah.
Is where you need it.
Right.
I also, as you started saying that, I'm like, you need it in every podcast group, and I was like, who are the Iggy and Spike of the DSG? But I don't
Yeah,
want to
but
start fights
I was
today.
going to say, if you can't identify it, then it's probably us. It's like,
Probably right.
yeah, that's the pot calling the kettle black there, right?
Yep, we did it again.
Yeah,
We were made for each other, Wes.
that's it.
All right. Who lost the movie?
Yeah, I think we're in an agreement here, whether it's the writers or the directors. I think
Yes.
the creative leadership of this movie, the
Yes.
creative direction of this movie, whoever was ahead of that ship, did
Hmm.
not do a good job of it. This might be like, maybe this is a great homage again. Maybe because people say that Mario is like a drug psychedelic landscape. Maybe this movie, all the writers were just deeply on drugs on this, and they're like, we just got to get this out of here. Just like hung up in a writer's room for 48 hours with nothing but coffee and cocaine and cigarettes, and they're like, let's get this out of here. Let's go. We got something to do.
Right.
And that's what
Yeah.
came out of it.
That's that. I mean, that would explain why John Leguizamo every 5 minutes when Bob Hoskins is asking him, like, "How do you know?" I just know. I just have a
I just
feeling.
know you got faith.
Yeah. It's cool.
Trust the fun guy.
Like,
Trust the mozzarella.
yeah.
It's never let us down.
It's so bad. But yeah, I'm with you. Like is it the producers, is it the directors, is it the writers, whoever was like the decision maker, like whether they put together the team or they were overseeing a lot of different stuff, like whoever that person was is like is the ultimate loser. I gotta imagine that they didn't have a gig for a while longer after this because this is so bad. But again, the writers, as we go along more and more, Wes, I don't know if the director made changes. Of course, that happens with scripts and stuff, but some of this shit, as we look at it more and dissect it, we're not talking about like, oh, we're nitpicking stuff because we see that with YouTubers and stuff like that where they're like, oh, but they got this wrong and that wrong. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
this is
yeah.
tiny shit. No, we're like that's the Goomba Koopa thing. That's a
It's
terrible
big.
fuck up. Yeah,
It's big.
that's a careless mistake. And some of this other stuff too. The dialogue is we didn't talk
Again,
about all this
and it's
bad.
so close to being like a Goomba and a Koopa. It's like so close to it that it almost makes me feel like they didn't have the rights to use it, which would be weird because like Nintendo signed off in this movie. So it's like it's almost like a Chinese knockoff of it. You know, they're so close to it, but there's a couple stitches that are off.
Well, but you even say King Koopa, so it's like there's no way
Right.
they ran into the problem. It's and that was another too. Like like Bowser's known as King Koopa, like that is a thing. But like, why couldn't you just go with Bowser? Like,
Yeah.
it would have made more sense at least. I mean, but whatever. So yeah, a lot of losers in this.
I don't know, but were there any winners, Nick? Who
Yeah,
won the movie?
Reebok
Yeah.
won this movie. Yeah, because
Did I only see because of the bomb? Was that
Yes.
the only reason why? Okay.
Yes, that's it. Yes, I needed to have one more Bob thing. I saw that. I was like, what the fuck? Like, it's. I forget what I was watching the other day, but it was there was something that was just like clear product placement. It was like it was Coke. I can't remember what it was. I was like, okay, but this was like so ridiculous and just like not even trying to be subtle about it. It's like, you know what? Okay, and it's Bob too, so I was all here for it.
I love it because it was like, yeah, so in your face. Didn't even try to hide it, like square in the scene. It probably paid for like a couple of the salaries, just that product placement there,
Probably.
you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it made me search afterwards. I was like, were there Super Mario Brother Reebok shoes? Because that would be kind of like a thing, like a promotional sneaker.
Yep.
And now what I think they should do is release like the Boost Boot Super Mario Brother Reebok sneaker.
That'd be amazing.
Because that was the big takeaway, at least for me as a kid, was the I thought those were the coolest things. So if they made like, because what did they do? What the Marty McFly Nikes?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like those type of things, like you know, like that would be such a cool thing. So they should have done that for Mario, but that's a missed opportunity. Too late now.
Again, if you had us there, you know, honestly, I would have been 2 years old, and what you would have been 6 then at that time. We probably would have been better.
I could have put that together. I could have come up with that. Give a little love for John Leguizamo.
Okay, I mean,
yeah, this is right before he goes on a little run. He kind of starts making a career for himself right after this.
Look, I will say that him and Hoskins, their acting wasn't the thing that bothered me most with this movie. It was definitely not. I don't think.
No, that wasn't bad. And it was like,
five.
you know, the brother, you know, the older brother who's straight laced trying to get the job done. And then John Leguizamo is like the lover boy free thinker who doesn't want to work and just kind of wants to like, you know, have a good time and all about the experience more, right? But you know, like I would think in the movie, it would be like Mario is the leader, the gun ho guy, the one who's going to be running into trouble and everything like that. The first one, and that John Leguizamo is more like C-3PO. Like I always thought Luigi was kind of like a scared, nervous Nelly, a Neville Longbottom.
Again, you would think that. But now with the whole Koopa Goomba mix up that we have, and then of course, and then the Daisy stuff too. Why would you go with Daisy, and then why would you make her look like Princess Peach? It's just a lot of laziness went into this movie.
I know it was not lazy. That final scene of Daisy coming in, when she like kicks the door open with the gun, she's like, "We got problems," and she's like, "Terminator Daisy."
Yeah,
that got me going.
Wait, we're talking about Wes today or Wes as a kid?
Well, you know, I'll leave that for the audience to describe. Decide.
Probably best.
Or describe.
Both. We're all.
But John Leguizamo and Reebok, the real winners of this movie here of the Super Mario Brothers take two. That is the final exit survey for Super Mario Brothers, the 1993 movie. I had to remove the from there just to make sure there's a delineation there. Nick gave that a 35. I gave it a 53. Quick math on that, Nick, is a 88. So 44.
Yep. So
Wow,
same grade that you gave Mortal Kombat Scorpion's Revenge.
So is this might be our lowest graded movie to date then?
I think so. Yeah, lowest graded anything, period. I don't think we have a show lower than this either.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, there we go. That's a first for the CMM podcast, Super Mario Brothers 1993.